everyone, and welcome back to Turnstile Talk. Today is going to be a little bit of a different video. I know I like to do video essays and kind of documentary style deep dives, but we are in a very exciting period of theme park history where a new theme park is about to be opened. And I have been very fortunate to go to a number of different previews of Epic Universe. And now that content is being allowed to be shared, I wanted to share my thoughts and really rank the attractions throughout Universal Epic Universe. Now, I will preface this by saying I was able to experience every attraction except for one, which was Fire Drill, and that is simply because I did not want to get soaking wet. I actually have a lot of experience with splash battles from previous parks, but I figure it's only fair that since I didn't experience it in person, I don't want it as a part of my rankings. Now, do keep in mind these are my subjective rankings. It takes into account a lot of things. How did it evoke emotion? Was it, from a design standpoint, an amazing ride? How did it fit into the overall land? How was the narrative? There are a bunch of different variables, but again, that's what I love about theme parks the most, is that you're never going to get the same reaction as another person. So as I go through my rankings, there may be some attractions that you guys think I'm undervaluing or overvaluing, and that's the great part about this. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please like and subscribe. And with that being said, I think we should jump into it. But before we do, I just want to say overall, Epic Universe is an absolute achievement, and everyone who was involved with the project deserves immense praise for bringing an incredible park to life. And I know firsthand that it is not an easy experience at all. So a massive kudos to everyone at Universal Creative, all of the ride manufacturers, contractors, and subcontractors. Your accomplishments definitely have not gone unnoticed, and I truly think that this park is going to change the game. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the rankings. We're going to start at the bottom and move all the way up to the top. So at number 10, this one does hurt. Donkey Kong is one of the most beloved video game characters of all time. The moment Universal announced that the legendary minecart levels would be turned into a real-life coaster, the hype was truly off the charts. And in concept, I will say it's brilliant. The boom coaster tech is truly revolutionary. It offers the illusion that your minecart is leaping across broken track sections, just like in the games. And in action, I'll tell you, it works. The visual of the ride vehicle jumping is really breathtaking, especially for first-time riders or spectators. And that moment alone is truly a showstopper. But here's the problem. The ride around that one brilliant effect just doesn't really hold up. First of all, it's shockingly rough. And I'm not one to complain about, getting a few head bumps, but the transitions feel awkward and like the train is constantly fighting the track. There's a level of jankiness that feels completely out of sync with the rest of Epic Universe's polish. Secondly, the theming, while it is occasionally charming, it definitely feels unfinished. There's an overwhelming amount of negative space between show scenes, and the animatronics that are present feel dated. Not bad, but certainly not up to the level of what's elsewhere in the park. Compared to, say, the Battle of the Ministry or even Curse of the Werewolf, it feels like a generation behind. And worst of all, it's really, really short. Like, blink and it's over short. For a land that's otherwise packed with detail and kinetic energy, this should have been the grand finale. Instead, it's a frustrating blend of innovation and under-delivery. I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad the boom track was built, but as a ride, I would say this is Universal's biggest missed opportunity in a long time. Now, number 9 is Yoshi's Adventure, and let's be honest, it was never meant to be the star of the show. It's a family omnimover and a scenic journey above Super Nintendo World designed for younger guests. And in that sense, it succeeds. but as an attraction, it's fine. I will say there is a lot of charm packed into the short ride. You board your colorful Yoshi vehicle and begin a slow-moving journey through the Mushroom Kingdom, searching for hidden eggs and spotting beloved characters along the way. The outdoor views are gorgeous, and the ride system is smooth, and the music is really a nostalgic delight. But where it stumbles is, first, its length. The ride is definitely very short. Just as you start to settle into the world, it just ends. There's no real story arc and no visual payoff. It's basically like watching the first 5 minutes of a cartoon and then being told the episode's over. I would say also the second downside is the scope. Super Nintendo World is a land built on the idea of interactivity and color and chaos and gamified exploration. And Yoshi's Adventure, it just kind of floats by it. There's very little movement in the show scenes. Most of the animatronics are static or simply blink, and the track path gives you glimpses of cool environments like Bowser's Castle or Mount Beedpole, but you're always viewing them from the outside. You never really feel like you are in the story. It's basically the People Mover with Mario Paint, and listen, I absolutely love the People Mover. But when everything else in Epic Universe is pushing boundaries, this one feels like an afterthought. That said, again, I'm glad it's there. Every park needs its low-stakes, high-accessibility ride, and this fills the role. But it's far from essential, and it leaves me wondering, how incredible could this have been with just a bit more ambition? Moving on to number 8, we have the ride next door, Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. And this one might get a little bit of heat because Mario Kart is the flagship ride of Super Nintendo World, and for a lot of people it definitely delivers. I mean, the queue is incredible. From the moment you step inside Bowser's Castle, you are truly immersed. The scale, the detail, the interactivity. It's the kind of queue that's so good people would line up to walk through it even if there were no ride at the end. But the ride itself, for me, it's a classic case of overcomplicating a good idea. The setup being you're racing Mario style, using an augmented reality visor to interact with your surroundings, shooting shells, and collecting coins. On paper, it sounds amazing, but in practice, the AR kind of pulls you out of the moment. Instead of being in the Mushroom Kingdom, you're looking through basically a screen that overlays basic animations onto what are truly stunning physical sets. You're constantly shifting focus back and forth from the real world to the digital. You never quite fully feel immersed in it. It's like playing a game while walking through a museum. The two halves don't really gel. And beyond the tech, the ride just isn't that fun. And I hate to say that. It's hard to track what you're doing. It's hard to know if you're winning. It's hard to even appreciate the practical environments around you when your eyes are busy chasing AR characters flying across your lens. Now, if you're a diehard Nintendo fan, you'll probably love it. It's a thrill to hear those sound effects and see those tracks brought to life, and I wouldn't blame you. But as a ride, it's just not cohesive. I would say it's a swing and a miss. Not a bad ride by any means, but one that's burdened by its own ambition. All right, here we go. I can already hear the angry typing, but please hear me out. I really wanted to love Monsters Unchained. Seriously, I really did. It's a brand new land built around monsters, and a massive e-ticket ride where you journey into Frankenstein's manor during a failed monster control experiment sounds amazing. But this ride is a textbook example of why technology alone does not make a great attraction. Let's start with the good. The animatronics are unbelievable. They are some of the best figures ever put into a theme park, and I would actually say they are the best figures ever put into a theme park. They're fluid and expressive and larger than life. The Frankenstein monster in particular is a showstopper, and the exterior, the Frankenstein Manor, is a Gothic masterwork. It is one of the most stunning show buildings in the entire park. But once you are on the ride, it does start to fall apart. The ride vehicle is supposed to whip and drift through scenes with controlled chaos, but instead, it often feels really awkward. It's like it's reacting instead of performing. There's a lack of fluidity in the choreography that makes everything feel very disconnected. And when I say that, I mean it feels like you are on a theme park ride. It doesn't feel like you're immersed in the environment. My big problem is the story. Honestly, it's really hard to follow. You're told something about monsters being chained and then things go wrong, but the scenes don't really flow together in a meaningful way. It's just a jumble of cool-looking moments without narrative clarity. There are action beats, sure, but no rhythm, no rising tension, and no satisfying resolution. And then, one of the biggest issues is the show sets, or lack of them. There are huge swaths of the ride that feel absolutely unfinished. I mean, there are empty corridors and sparse dressing. There are sections that scream value engineering, and it completely undermines the otherwise incredible creature work. It's like if I were to build a Broadway musical around one amazing costume and leave the rest of the stage blank. Ultimately, it's a ride built around potential, and maybe with some opening tweaks it'll get there, but for now, for me, it's all sizzle and no soul. Do I think people will absolutely love this ride because it is an original concept based off of monsters? Absolutely. Do I think that this ride is a well-designed attraction? I have to say I don't. And again, that will be a controversial opinion, but it is my own. Every theme park has a ride you expect to be a complete throwaway, a filler per se. Something built because the land need a spinning thing for kids. And in Epic Universe, that ride is Dragon Racers Rally. Except, it's actually really fun. It's a dual-arm spinning flat ride sitting right in the middle of the How to Train Your Dragon land. It looks like a basic spinner at first glance, and honestly, it is. But Universal went above and beyond to make it feel like it belonged. The aesthetic fits perfectly. I mean, the surrounding rock work, the queue elements, the dragon designs, they all sell the fantasy that you're taking part in a training exercise straight out of Burke. Now, let's be real. If you're expecting thrills, you just won't find them here. But what you will find is a surprisingly tight little ride that's far more entertaining than it has any right to be. The spin mechanics give you a solid sense of speed, and the movement feels kinetic and exciting. It's accessible for younger guests, but it's also not dull for adults either. That said, it is also not perfect. There's a key design decision that holds it back, in my opinion at least. The built-in braking system that prevents it from going a full 360 degrees is a bit disappointing. I get it. It's probably there for safety and capacity or guest comfort, but you do feel it. Just when you start building momentum, you're yanked back. It's like a tease of a thrill that never fully arrives. It is also short. I would say too short. You really barely get going before it's over, but honestly, that's a nitpick. Because this ride could have been a total dud, and instead, I would say it's a crowd pleaser. Is it a headliner? No. It's not changing the game. But Dragon Racers Rally is the perfect example of how thoughtful design and thematic integration can elevate even the simplest attraction. Now, this one truly surprised me. Curse of the Werewolf wasn't heavily marketed. It's tucked away in a spooky corner of Darkmoor, almost like it doesn't want to be found. But once you ride it, you realize it's one of the most purely fun experiences in the entire park. It's a spinning coaster for mock rides, and it hits the sweet spot between accessibility and excitement. It's themed around a werewolf transformation ceremony gone wrong, and the attraction doesn't overcomplicate things. It tells a very simple story. You are part of the ritual, something goes sideways, and the chaos begins. The launch is punchy, and the track layout is very clever. The spinning element adds an unpredictable thrill to every ride. No two rides are quite the same, which gives it a fantastic re-rideability factor. One moment you're laughing, and the next you're screaming as your car whips around a turn backward. The theming is surprisingly detailed. The station and pre-show set up the narrative well, and while it doesn't have the grand scale of Ministry, it nails the mood and ambiance. But there is one problem, and I'm going to be purposely vague to avoid spoilers, but the ending scene includes a moment that feels like it was copy-pasted from a low-tier Six Flags park. It's unnecessary and it's out of place. And to me, it totally kills the immersive vibe the rest of the ride works so hard to build. I truly don't know how it made it into the final element of the park and of that attraction, but I do hope they get rid of it. And if you've ridden the ride, I think you will know what I'm talking about. Still, aside from that one hiccup, it is a really strong supporting coaster. It's spooky, it's intense, and it's a blast. In a land where monsters roam free, Curse of the Werewolf absolutely earns its claws. Now, there's a reason this ride has been quietly called Mini Hagrid's, because that's exactly what it feels like, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment. Hiccup's Wing Gliders is the anchor attraction for How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk, and what an anchor it is. You're launched out of the station by Toothless himself, and you're flying through cliffsides, diving past waterfalls, and weaving through the skies on a beautifully designed coaster that's pure joy from start to finish. Let's talk the launch first. It's not the most powerful, but it's got style. Toothless actually presses the button, and boom, you're off. It's one of those moments that makes kids scream and adults smile. It's pure theater. And then comes the fake-out rollback. Now, I love a good surprise element in a coaster, and this one is a chef's kiss. It's unexpected and disorienting in the best way, and it just adds so much flavor to the layout. The ride never goes for sheer intensity, but that's not the point. What it does instead is focus on flight, on creating a genuine feeling of riding alongside a dragon. The vehicle design is open, and it gives you an unobstructed view of the world. The track swoops and rolls in a way that feels almost graceful. It's thrilling, but it's also beautiful. The scenery, it's some of the best in the park. You pass under bridges and near water and around carved mountain facades that make Berk feel alive and massive. It's fast and it's fluid and it's fun. It is how you do a family coaster right. Not just by toning things down, but by elevating everything else. The theming, the pacing, the tone. It's truly pitch perfect. If this ride had opened at any other park, it truly would be the headliner. At Epic Universe, it's somehow just a top 5. Now, here we go. Let's get into the top 3. These are the crown jewels, the emotional gut punches, the rides that push the entire industry forward. Buckle up. If you want to talk about technical perfection, true cutting-edge ride design, this is it. Battle of the Ministry is not just another screen-based dark ride. It's the next evolution. It's what every other ride that uses screens wishes it could be. The way this attraction merges practical sets, lighting effects, ultra-high def media, and an entirely new ride system is, objectively, industry defining. Let's start with the queue. And I don't say this lightly. This is the best queue ever built in any theme park. From the moment you step into the Metro Flu to the point where you're getting on the attraction, that experience in itself is an attraction. And that's about as much as I can say with it. It is the most impressive thing that I've seen built. When I was at my very first preview and the attraction was not open and you could just walk through the queue, there were points where my mouth was agape and my jaw was hitting the floor. It is truly that impressive and that special. And the ride itself, it really backs it up. When you board the ride vehicle, this thing is unlike anything I've ever sat in. It doesn't just move, it glides and twists and pivots and even levitates. many of us have ridden Kuka arms and dark rides or motion simulators, but this is an entirely new class of experience. I would venture to say that objectively, this is the best theme park ride ever built. And number one and number two are number one and number two for other reasons. And again, this is a subjective list, but objectively, I do think that this is probably the best theme park ride ever built. The show scenes are massive and filled with jaw-dropping visuals. Some scenes are entirely practical, while others are screen-based, and most of them blend so well together that you really can't even tell where the physical set ends and the digital begins. The choreography of the ride vehicle is, perfection. I, to this day, don't know how they did it. It is unbelievable, because you're not just watching the action, you are truly in it. And you may ask, why is it number 3 then? If you have all this high praise, why is it number 3? Well, it's simple for me. As technically perfect as it is, I didn't feel as much riding it as I did with the top 2, as I mentioned. I was amazed and impressed and blown away, but I didn't get that deep emotional resonance. The kind that just makes you grin uncontrollably. The one that makes you feel like a kid again. Battle of the Ministry, hands down, is a masterpiece of design. But the next 2 rides, they're something even rarer. They're magic. Now, every so often, a roller coaster comes along that changes the game. And Stardust Racers isn't just a good coaster, it is the perfect coaster. Everything about this coaster is sleek and polished and futuristic. It is gorgeous on every level. The load platform reveal is still one of the more breathtaking elements of the park. And man, you just strap in, and from the moment you launch, the ride just hits you with a precision engineered bliss. Now, Stardust Racers is a dual track racing coaster, but it's not just about speed. It's about, again, the choreography. The 2 coasters interact constantly. They dive over and under each other, they sync up at key moments, they separate, then reunite. It's really a ballet at 70 plus miles per hour. And then there is the celestial roll. This element might go down as the single best coaster moment ever created. It's a synchronized inversion where both coasters twist around each other in a perfect spiral. The timing and the visuals and the feeling of weightlessness, it really feels like you're flying through the rings of Saturn with your best friend riding shotgun. It really is that good. The onboard music, it's timed to every beat of the ride, and it elevates it to something almost emotional. You're not just screaming, you're smiling out of pure joy. You're laughing, and you're completely locked in. And let me be clear, this ride is butter smooth. There is not a single jolt or rattle. Every turn, every launch, and every element just feels right. It is peak coaster design. And you may ask yourself, why isn't this number 1? Well, it's because there is one ride at Epic Universe that didn't just blow my mind. It truly touched my heart. We have made it to number 1, and this is it. The best ride in Epic Universe isn't the biggest, doesn't go upside down, doesn't launch you at breakneck speeds. It's a carousel. But Constellation Carousel is a masterclass in emotional design, in pure, unfiltered joy. From the moment you lay eyes on it, you know this isn't your average merry-go-round. The canopy is a glowing sculpture dotted with constellations and shifting hues and kinetic energy. The ride vehicles, which each represent a zodiac creature, don't just move up and down, they dance. They tilt, they swirl. Each one is choreographed to one of 7 original soundtracks, and so every ride experience is slightly different. The music is sweeping and orchestral and echoes through Celestial Park like an invitation to dream. The ride pulses with life, color, and wonder, and when it starts moving, when all the vehicles come to life in synchronized harmony, something just clicks. It's not nostalgia, it's not adrenaline, it's something else. It's peace, and it's joy. It's that feeling you got when you rode your first carousel as a kid, but elevated to the realm of art. You don't scream, you don't cheer, you smile, you breathe, you just take it all in. In an age of hyper-tech, fast-paced, IP-driven everything, Constellation Carousel dares to be beautiful. And for me, that makes it not just the best ride in Epic Universe, but one of the best theme park rides ever created. Period. So that's my ranking. Every ride at Epic Universe, minus Fire Drill, from rough tech demos to breathtaking artistry. Let me be clear. As I said before, this park is a masterpiece. Even its weakest ride has ambition, and at its best, it's going to change the industry forever. So now I want to know, what is your favorite? Have you had a chance to visit Epic Universe? I'm very interested to see everyone's opinions on Monsters Unchained. Did I underrate it? Am I overrating the carousel? Let me know in the comments, and hey, while you're down there, go ahead and tap that like button, hit subscribe, and help me keep these deep dives going. Until next time, this has been Turnstile Talk. And Epic Universe? Yeah, they weren't kidding with that name. I'll see you in the next one.